The message is loud and clear. We're hearing from college football, and it's pretty obvious the expectation for the Georgia Bulldogs is pretty high going into 2025. Our buddies over at BetMGM have got the Dogs with the third shortest odds to win the national championship, just slightly behind Texas and Ohio State, who will both play one another, and then the Horns go to Georgia. Two road games, huge road games for Texas, a very challenging schedule for 2025 for the Longhorns. Georgia had that problem in 2024. But today, the television folks put out this season schedule so far for college football in 2025. And if you want to see the Georgia Bulldogs on national television, you're in luck because they're going to be on there constantly. Lots of nationally televised games for Georgia. A couple that I want to spotlight, and I want to talk about the importance of these games. When you are a top 5, top 3 program, it doesn't matter the season, doesn't matter kind of who you are. If you have a really not unbelievable game like Marshall to open the season and you're still playing on ESPN, that tells you about the expectations coming into a year. That tells you about the draw of that particular brand. Georgia will open the season up in Athens at 3:30 on ESPN against the Marshall Thundering Herd. A week later on a streaming service at 3:30. A week later, this is where it gets interesting. Georgia's going to play Tennessee at 3:30 on the road at Neyland. Now, that's a curious thing, and let me talk about that just for a little bit. So that day, there were 4 kind of big games in college football. Georgia Tech is hosting Clemson. That game's either going to be at noon on ABC or ESPN. Wisconsin is going to Alabama. That game is either going to be at noon. Is going to be at noon either on ESPN or ABC. So we don't know which. Georgia, Tennessee is going to be 3:30. That tells you it's the number 2 game of the weekend. And then the number 1 game of the weekend is Florida and LSU. That game is going to kick off on ABC at 7:30. So it's Florida at LSU. That tells you right there, boom, right off the bat, they're expecting Georgia to be a big deal just because of, Alabama not certainly playing on ABC against a legitimate opponent. Okay, so there's that. Secondly, then you have a few weeks later, we know that Georgia and the Gators now will play at 3:30. Their traditional, now traditional time from Jacksonville on ABC. And then this was a little bit surprising, but I think it makes sense. Surprising because I didn't know something that happened. Georgia and Tech will play in Atlanta at the Dome at 3:30. Why? Why not the night game? Because Texas and Texas A&M are going back to what has been for a long time their start time, which was their start day for their rivalry, which is that Friday, Black Friday. That game has moved around a little bit through the years. I would put that game on at night as well. So you're seeing 5 games already from Georgia. They're all 4 of the 5 are all on ABC. They're all 5, though, 3:30 kicks. That tells you all you need to know. And I'm going to tell you something you need to know. We've got a great offer over at Dogpost. I'm going to put the link down below. You sign up for 1 month of Dogpost, and you're going to get 3 months. So buy 1 month, get 3 months free, and you get our 2025 preview included. Okay, a lot of people are taking advantage of this. Again, I'm only printing so many of these magazines. You're not going to see these at Walmart and Kroger and places like that. Only at Red Zone, only on here. So Dogpost, Red Zone, our buddies down on Clayton Street. You coming in for the baseball regional? We'll see you there this weekend. But make sure you're going by Red Zone on Clayton Street. Say hello to Scott and Mindy. In the meanwhile, be ready. That's one of the places you can get it. But one of the best offers is buy 1 month of Dogpost, pay right now. You'll get all the way up to the season for free, and you get this fully color, hand-typed. I typed it by hand, 2025 preview. Take advantage of this while you can. I think, I've talked about this a bunch during my time over the years. Georgia being the probably 3rd most watched program in the last 15 years behind Ohio State and Alabama. I mean, Alabama has a noticeable lead because they played in so many national championship games where they won them or lost them. Those are games other people didn't play, and so you're getting 30 million people right there, or 25 million people, whatever it is, that other people don't get. You do that a few times, and you've got a massive lead. Ohio State the same way as it relates to what a great television brand they are. Georgia's right there with Ohio State. They're slightly behind them. But this tells you, that opening weekend with Ohio State and Texas, that is arguably the marquee college football game of the season. And it's going to be basically the first game played. I know, and I'm a psychopath, okay? Full disclosure. Week 0, I'm watching them all. I'm a crazy person. I will be watching Iowa State and Kansas State. That's a ranked matchup. We're going to be watching that for sure. No questions asked on ESPN. I will be watching the other games that weekend on Fox and so forth. There's a bunch of really good weekend games on week 0. What will eventually be week 1. Just get ready. And then, going into that Thursday, the best weekend of college football besides rivalry weekend is the first weekend, because you go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it's just a great way. I don't get emotional about it necessarily, but it is a wonderful time of the year for people who care about the sport the way that I do and most of y'all do. But it's just a wonderful time of the year. And, I'm thankful for, all of these matchups, whether you're talking about Central Arkansas at Missouri, that Thursday the 28th, or, Boise at South Florida, that Thursday at 5:30, on the 28th. You can feel the football in the air. You can smell it almost. If you're a really ambitious person, you could be in Tampa on Thursday for that game at 5:30, fly out, go straight to Charlotte for App State and Charlotte, or even Kennesaw at Wake. That's not a horrible situation. Or you could be super, adventurous and go to Boulder to watch the Jackets play. And then Saturday, I'm just trying to see. You certainly could do the back-to-back with Georgia, Marshall, and then Clemson, LSU. Boom, boom. I don't think that's out of the question. If you wanted to mix in Georgia State, if they have a 12 o'clock, I don't know what they play. But, I'm that person. We watch. Dogpost watches all these games. That's what we do. And I think that when you look at college football is telling you right now, we expect big things from Georgia. We expect great things from Georgia. It has not yet been announced that Texas, Georgia will be a primetime game. It has not yet been announced. And it won't, at this stage, it won't be until a little bit later in the season that Georgia-Bama will be a night game. We don't know that yet. Those could be, in theory, afternoon games. I would just tell you right now, the likelihood of those being afternoon games is low just because of the brands there. But, Georgia and Alabama have won 5 national championships since Alabama last visited Georgia. They've won 5 national championships combined. Like that's half of them this past 10 years. No one's even close to that in terms of a matchup. Ohio State, Texas, they've combined to win 1. And I'm not like turning on them. That's a great game. So, but when you have the two powers of the sport over the last decade playing, that's a huge game. I would put LSU, Florida at night over Tennessee, Georgia, just because, those guys have played forever. That game is always wild. I don't know what to expect of Georgia, Tennessee necessarily. I expect Georgia to win, but I don't think that Georgia's won 8 years in a row means necessarily anything, like taking away from it at all. But LSU, Florida, that has been a colossal fight a lot. And that has been a great game. Tennessee, Georgia is a really good game. It's one of the few games in the history of the sport. It's one of the few series that's ever had a 1 versus 1. Those games don't come around very often. Tennessee, Georgia has had that. But it will be a great test for the Dogs to go up to Neyland. It won't be a night game, though. So that's the other thing that was revealed today. We know now Tennessee, Georgia will not be at night. And, I'm moseying back on over to BetMGM just to see, do they have lines yet for some of these games? I know that Marshall, Georgia, that the Dogs are massively favored, almost by 40 points in that game, 38 some odd points. That's a lot. But now that we have times, you're going to start seeing some of these games trickle out in terms of, what are the lines with these games? And we're still primarily with over-unders. I know there are some outlets that have some lines out, but it will be curious to see over time just what people think about that Georgia-Tennessee game. That Nico's not there anymore. I mean, that can't possibly help Tennessee. I mean, I don't see how you would say that. But, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very curious to see where that was. Georgia like a 7-point favorite. I mean, where are we really at with that game? I'm trying to see here. Yeah, most of these lines just are not out. But I'll get on it when I can. That's not. Oh, they're saying week 3 is actually week 2, which is okay. This week 0 thing is going to go away at some point. Hey, look, nonetheless, this tells you all you need to know about Georgia and the expectations coming into this season for them, that they're plastering them all over national television, and they're not even including Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss. Those we know now 2 of the home games. We know both neutrals, but we know one of the aways. But we don't know 3 pretty big games in Athens with Ole Miss, Texas, and Bama. We don't know when those are yet. They're not going to be at noon. So the question is, will it be 3:30 or night? My suspicion is 2 of those 3, if not all 3, will be at night. But we'll just see and take it from there. ABC and Disney, I mean, it was worth the money to get it, but it has been expensive. And sometime soon here we're going to talk about 9-game schedule and all that and everything falling together all at once. But that's going to take a longer video. Y'all going to have to stick with me on that one. Hey, take advantage of our awesome offer. Pay for buy 1 month, get 3 months for free and the magazine. Great deal. It's right down below. Thanks for watching.